What kind of weapon would be so powerful that even the nation that built it became afraid to use it? What kind of explosion could shake the entire planet, not once, but multiple times? And what kind of bomb would force its own creators to weaken it? Because they feared what would happen if they didn't? This isn't fiction. This isn't theory. This actually happened. At the height of the Cold War, the world was divided into two sides. On one side was the Soviet Union. On the other was the United States. Both were locked in a silent war, not on battlefields, but in laboratories. Each side wanted the same thing: power. Not just enough power to win a war, but enough power to prevent one from ever starting. Because in nuclear strategy, the most powerful weapon isn't always the one you use, it's the one your enemy knows you have. By the late 1950s, nuclear weapons were already terrifying. The bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki had shown the world what atomic weapons could do. Entire cities erased, tens of thousands killed instantly. But those bombs were small compared to what was coming next. Soviet scientists began asking a dangerous question. What if they built the largest nuclear weapon in human history? Not just bigger, not just stronger, but so powerful that no one would ever dare challenge them again. This wasn't just about destruction. It was about psychological dominance. The project moved forward in complete secrecy. The bomb would be unlike anything ever created before. It wasn't a simple atomic bomb. It was a hydrogen bomb, a thermonuclear weapon. Atomic bombs use fission, splitting atoms. Hydrogen bombs use fusion, the same reaction that powers the sun. Fusion releases far more energy, and Soviet engineers didn't stop at one stage. They designed a three-stage weapon, each stage triggering the next, each stage multiplying the power, each stage pushing the limits of physics itself. The lead scientist behind this terrifying project was Andrei Sakharov. Even he understood the danger of what they were building. The original design was expected to produce 100 megatons of explosive force. To understand that number, you need perspective. The Hiroshima bomb was about 15 kilotons. This new bomb would be 100,000 kilotons, more than 6,000 times stronger. But as the design progressed, Soviet scientists realized something even more frightening. The explosion wouldn't just destroy buildings, it could poison the earth. The outer layer of the bomb was originally made of uranium. When detonated, this uranium would undergo fission, dramatically increasing the bomb's power. But it would also create massive radioactive fallout. Fallout that could spread across continents. Fallout that could remain deadly for years. Fallout that could affect people who weren't even part of the war. The bomb wouldn't just destroy a target, it could contaminate the planet. This forced Soviet leaders to confront a terrifying reality. They had created a weapon too dangerous to use, so they made a decision. They replaced the uranium outer layer with lead. Lead wouldn't undergo fission. This reduced the bomb's power by half, from 100 megatons to 50 megatons. But even at half power, it would still become the most powerful weapon ever detonated in human history. The test was scheduled for October 30th, 1961. The location was a remote Arctic island called Novaya Zemlya, far from cities, far from witnesses, far from civilization. A specially modified bomber carried the massive weapon. Even the aircraft crew knew the risk. There was no guarantee they could escape. The bomb was so large it had to be equipped with a massive parachute, not to protect the bomb, but to slow its fall, giving the aircraft time to fly away before detonation. As the bomber released the weapon, the countdown began. Seconds passed, then it happened. A flash brighter than the sun. The explosion created a fireball nearly 10 kilometers wide. Everything beneath it was instantly vaporized. The heat was so intense, it could cause burns nearly 100 kilometers away. The shockwave was even more terrifying. It flattened buildings over 50 kilometers from the explosion. Windows shattered hundreds of kilometers away. People felt the shockwave from over 1,000 kilometers away. But the most unbelievable effect came next. The shockwave didn't stop. It traveled around the entire Earth, not once, not twice, 3 times. The planet itself had been shaken. The mushroom cloud rose over 60 kilometers into the sky, higher than the edge of space. For a moment, humanity had unleashed a force approaching the scale of natural disasters, and this was only half the bomb's original intended power. Think about that. This wasn't the strongest weapon they could build. It was the strongest weapon they dared to test. The full version was never detonated because even its creators feared the consequences. This test proved something important. Humanity had crossed a line. It was now possible to build weapons capable of ending civilization, not just destroying cities, not just winning wars, but potentially ending human life on Earth. This realization changed military strategy forever. Nuclear weapons stopped being tools of war. They became tools of deterrence, because once weapons become too powerful to use, their purpose changes. They exist not to be launched, but to prevent launch. This is called mutually assured destruction. If both sides have weapons capable of destroying each other, neither side can safely attack. The Tsar Bomba proved this concept in the most dramatic way possible. It showed that the ultimate weapon wasn't practical, it was psychological. It forced the world to confront a disturbing truth. Just because something can be built doesn't mean it should be used. The Soviet Union never deployed the Tsar Bomba in combat. No nation ever built a weapon more powerful because they didn't need to. The message had already been delivered. Humanity had reached the peak of destructive capability and chose not to go further. But this raises a deeper question. How many weapons exist today that are even more advanced? How many technologies remain secret? How many capabilities exist that the public doesn't know about? Because history has shown something again and again. The most powerful weapons are often hidden, not revealed until necessary, not acknowledged until strategic, not understood until years later. The Tsar Bomba wasn't just a bomb. It was proof. Proof that human intelligence could unlock unimaginable power, and proof that human restraint might be the only thing preventing its use. Because the most important moment in the story wasn't when the bomb exploded, it was when scientists decided to weaken it, when they chose control over destruction, when they realized that power without restraint isn't strength, it's extinction. And that may be the most important lesson ever learned from the most powerful weapon in history. Because the real question isn't how powerful our weapons can become. The real question is, will we always be wise enough not to use them?